know, before he was like, "You want a coffee?" And like just the way he said it was like I felt like we were like it was pillow talk, but he was just asking me if I wanted a coffee.
And you really wanted a coffee.
I really wanted my coffee after that. Yeah.
I'm also from Montreal, and I'm Adam Jensen in Deus Ex, the old Human Revolution, and now Mankind Divided, and I'm in a bunch of Assassin's Creed games and Splinter Cell games, which are not as popular as they should be.
Right.
And
Splinter Cell.
and I'm on a show called The Expanse, which is starting in December on Sci-Fi Network.
I forgot to mention that I play the first female protagonist in the Assassin's Creed series, Avenue de Grand Prix in Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation. And I also played Christina Vespucci in Brotherhood, which people seem to love, the Ezio Christina love story.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's so great.
Yeah.
It's
You
the
gotta
perfect
find,
story. It's
you gotta
like
finally have
volatile.
someone to tie down Ezio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I remember at one point I was looking for voice demo material from that. And so I just went on YouTube and I did a little search, and then all of these videos that people had put together, just like following the love story, editing it all together. I was like, oh my God, there's like a real following. Like, it's serious business.
Then there's the other side of it, which is I played Federico, which is Ezio's brother, in that Assassin's Creed 2. And all over online there's drawings of both of them very naked and doing various different things.
The weirder corners of it.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Fan art goes one of two ways.
Yeah.
It's either really cool or really creepy.
There's a lot of gens and stuff like that too. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That bedroom voice.
Yeah. Somebody's got to draw something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, seriously.
So, what kind of interaction do you guys get with your fan base? Is it mostly in conventions like this, or do you do more community events or like live events online or things like that? Just how do you like to communicate with your fan bases?
I've done a couple of Twitch things, but mostly those were in collaboration with.
Like a studio release.
Yeah, like a thing like that. But mostly it's conventions and Twitter. Twitter is always fun. Social media is always fun. Facebook pages, things like that. I think it's important. I think nowadays for actors, it's initially it was frowned upon. I think like you don't want to connect with people. You don't want to talk to people because they're the fans and you're the actor. I hesitate to say star, but you're the actor. But now I think it makes it almost people enjoy it more. People I meet at conventions who I've spoken to on Twitter and things like that, they have more of an appreciation, and then they follow more things I do, and they want to follow up on those things instead of just like don't talk to me, dude, and meeting them at the conventions, which I dislike. I like talking to people who follow the work that I do.
Well, then we assume they probably like talking to you.
I would hope so.
Or at least listening to you.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's really predominantly through Twitter and my Facebook fan page, and these events. That's why I was interested in starting to doing conventions and Comic-Cons and things like that, is because I actually wanted that relationship and contact with fans and with my audience. You know, you don't have that with film and TV, and you're working on set or doing mocap or being in a sound booth or whatever. It's just you and the director and the crew and the other actors. You never have that relationship with the audience. So coming to conventions like this and getting to meet people and actually getting feedback and hearing what they loved and hearing what they hated, and it's fun. I really like getting.
That's always the fun thing when they're like, "I love your game, man. But why did they do this and this and this?" And like, dude, I just say what they tell me to say.
I can hand it a script. I read the script. It's very simple.
Although, to be fair, in the new game, it's the first time in my career that I've done a sequel of something extremely popular. So I had a lot more leeway and a lot more input into the script and into things that Jensen would say and do and things like that, which was a first for me, and they were very open to that kind of stuff, and I love that. Because there were things in the story in the last game that I didn't like, and if that came up in Mankind Divided, I was able to say, like, "Oh, could we try doing it a different way?" And a lot of times they listened and
It's definitely
Yeah.
cool
It's
that they let you get your input on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So you've both done recurring characters, so like do you kind of get some of that input as well with like, because you get a real feel for the character that you're working on. Do you kind of get some of that input creatively?
Depends on the project. Sometimes they'll want you to really stick to what's written, what's on the page verbatim. Other times they'll be more open to improv and you putting your input. It has a lot to do with the creative team and their approach, and there's very different approaches, and sometimes how it's written works so well that it's like, why would you bother changing that, or even why would you meddle with that? And other times allowing actors to put their input is just going to improve it and bring a unique flavor that only that actor can give to the role, you know what I mean? So I've definitely experienced both. I would say for TV, a lot of the times they want you to stick to what's on the page. That has been my experience.
Yeah, especially network TV. Network
yeah.
TV has their ideas, and
Yeah.
they just kind of hire you to say them.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I have to say, Ubisoft has taken a new approach in the past few games that I've worked on, where there'll be a rehearsal process before we shoot, and the writer will be there. Like working on Black Flag, the writer was there with us, and whatever didn't feel natural, whatever didn't flow, we would just say like, hey, Darby, this doesn't feel right to me, or like this doesn't flow naturally, and he would rework it.
Let me get this straight. The director on Assassin's Creed, the pirate one, was named Darby.
No, the writer.
The writer.
The writer.
It's even worse.
So, yeah.
Or so much better.
Yeah.
Whatever you prefer.
No, it was a woman who was directing Cameron Densmore, who she
Oh,
is
that's right. Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
incredible director. I love working with her. She I also worked with her on Revelations. She's amazing. She's just a pleasure to work with, and she loves actors bringing their input to things, and she pushed for that rehearsal process. She was the one who was like, no, we're not going to just shoot. We used to just show up. We'd have our script in advance, we'd show up and we would just shoot it. She was like, no, I want a rehearsal process. I want time to work things with the actors, to explore, to try things, and to have that relationship with the writer. And I think that is a really effective way of shooting, because you get that collaborative experience.
It definitely helps make the characters feel really alive. It's
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It translates pretty well. into
Absolutely.
those titles, so.
Absolutely. And you can't just improvise a period piece. Like there's,
No.
in terms of the language that was used, we needed to have the writer to be like, to verify like, okay, that is a word they would have used at that time,
Check in with old Darby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Darby. Somebody had to have made that joke. Am I the first person to make that joke?
That I'm aware of.
Oh my
but-
God.
So like the whole production, not one person said, you're the writer of a pirate game and your name is Darby.
Listen, I was not with him at all times. So
like,
I can't.
Like they're all being super professional when you guys, but then the second you leave, the assistant's like, Darby.
You'll have to ask him yourself.
Yeah. So who's the person you've worked with that you enjoy working with the most? Like,
Oh, Amber.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. We've actually been doing these events together a lot.
Yeah,
We
it's
did
true.
SAC Anime together,
Houston.
Space City, Comic-Con, and now this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. In terms of like shooting, like in terms of a director or cast, well, I mean, going back to that experience on Black Flag, that was really awesome. The cool thing about doing mocap is that you're not gonna have like egos, like crazy egos in terms of the actors. It's not set up that way. Like you show up at the mocap studio, we don't all have our own trailers, and there's not like one actor that has like a bigger
it's very
trailer because of the
different, yeah.
lead. We all have the same, dressing rooms. And then you get on set and we're all wearing these silly spandex suits covered in balls. Like, you know what I mean? You can't be like, well, I'm the star of this show. Like, we all look at each other and we're like, yep. Okay, let's do this. You know what I mean?
This is the thing that's happening to us all.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that was great. Matt Ryan, who played Edward Kenway, and most recently Constantine, was an absolute joy to work with. And like I said, Kama, the director, that experience was particularly collaborative and fun. And then LARPs, like that I saw most recently, that has been honestly probably the most fun that I've ever had on set working on that show, because everyone was equally invested in the project. Like, it was really, it was a labor of love, and everyone was there because they really wanted to be there. They weren't there for the money. Let's put it that way. And so it was just like a real sense of appreciating what we were doing and appreciating all the work that everyone was putting into it. And it was hard work, but it was really fun.
Speaking of which, do you have a preference between working in video games versus in TV? Or does it just depend on project to project?
Depends on the character for me, really.
Okay.
And the well, obviously in the project which the character is in. For me, like, there's some TV shows that are not good, like, that I do still, because you're an actor. Like, an actor's like any contract worker, right? You get hired for this job, and you do the job, and you either think this is a great, like, thing you're building, or it's terrible. And to be honest, right now, video games are better written than most of the TV I do, and most of the movies too. I mean, occasionally, like The Expanse, the show I did, I love that show, and I had a great time playing that character. And I mean, it's written by the guys who wrote Children of Men, you know, so it's like a good, friggin' good writers. And but yeah, I mean, for me, it's a matter of the character, the way you achieve what you need to achieve as an actor is the same no matter what the technology is, whether you're just talking to a mic, whether you're in a mocap suit, or whether you're on set or on a stage or whatever. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's always about the story you're telling and the character you're playing, and if you connect to it and can find the joy in that work and the meaning in it, if it's meaningful to you.
Yeah.
What I can say, just from like a working day standpoint, video games follow a kind of a 9 to 5 shoot schedule.
Yeah.
Whereas TV shows follow a whatever works best for daylight and location and
Yeah, you're working
what
like
time we finished
16-hour days
yesterday.
on TV shows, and you can't work more than 8 hours on a mocap.
Exactly. So like if I have a day at the mocap studio, I can make dinner plans and no problem. If I have a day on set, it's like I could be done at 5 p.m. I could be done at 3 in the morning. You have no sense going into it. There's so much overtime.
It's mostly because for mocap and things like that, you don't have to light, you don't have to change camera angles, you don't have to do any of that stuff. So you can go from scene to scene to scene to scene pretty quickly, because there's cameras, but they're all capturing the data of whatever markers you're wearing.
Exactly.
They're not capturing any light, so you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Although there are always markers that fall off, or your
Right.
camera gets bumped, and then you look crooked. Or,
There are still technical difficulties.
there's a lot of technical difficulties.
That's for sure. And also locations is a big one when you're shooting on a series
Yeah.
and they have a location for maybe only that day or a certain amount of days, and you have to finish all the scenes that are taking place at that location, whereas the mocap studio can become whatever location you need it to be. So it's
Anything
just
you can imagine.
yeah, it's this magical place that can turn into anything. It's pretty cool. in
It's
that
actually a
sense.
pretty. I don't know if you guys know this, but they have this. I don't know if you did this on any of your games, but for Blacklist and now for Deus Ex, there's a camera that you bring into the studio where if you look through the camera, you see what the gamer would see. But that's in and of itself is pretty cool. But what they do now is they'll shoot the scene out. The director will go in later on his own, and wherever he points the camera is what we've shot. So he can change the angles of whatever the heck he wants to do. It's all in there
pretty
as if
spectacular.
wherever he's looking.
Wow.
So it's like he can take an entire day and redirect the entire thing because we've already shot it. It's incredible.
Wow.
And every time I go in, it's probably the same for you. Every time we do a mocap thing, some other technology has shown up where it makes it easier and better. And it's crazy. And we're in its infancy. It's going bigger and bigger and bigger. It's nuts.
Do you guys find that it's kind of like freeing a little bit to be acting in a space where it kind of is completely up to your imagination to fill in, what's around you, or do you find that a little bit more challenging? How do you?
Well, at first I found it challenging.
Yeah.
You show up and you're set, like I'm used to having props that are like the actual thing, and then these are just like they do have props in there, like, but they have like balls on them and everything. You know what I mean? There's
And the
tape
guns are
and there's-
literally toy guns.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Like blue
Yeah.
toy guns are red.
So I basically learned to ask a lot of questions, because if I just leave it to my imagination, it could potentially not be what they've envisioned for the game design.
Yeah.
So I always ask now for them to show me, like, what does this location look like, and they have gotten into the habit of doing it anyways all
Yeah.
the time now. So they'll show you the location, they'll get the proportions right, and any other kind of any other missing pieces, I'll just ask them. So what's this? What does that look like? How far do I get to this person? Is this what we're shooting? Is that going to be seen from close up, or do you think it's going to be shot from far? Because that might change how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so they'll tell me. So I think that's the biggest thing I learned, is just ask as many questions as you can, and paint that picture for yourself. And then you gotta fill in the blanks in terms of the wardrobe, what you're wearing, how that will translate in your movements too. You've got to incorporate that, you know?
There's a lot of dragging dead bodies, which are actually just giant sandbags, things like that. But it's true. I remember just last week I was shooting one where I'm in a helicopter, technically, and the helicopter lands, and I have to jump off and then start shooting and run as I'm shooting. But nothing's moving. I'm not shooting at anything, and I have a toy gun. So it's very hard not to go, very hard. But so you land in like you hear the guy going, okay, you're flying. It's flying. You land. You have to act like you hit the ground. You jump out. There are people firing at you. You have to act like things are firing at you. Whereas I've done action movies where things are firing at you. There are things going off, squibs going off, and things, and that's easier. So it's kind of both. It's freeing in a way because you don't have to worry about everything else, but it's difficult because you do have to act. And I do find myself, I don't know if this happens with you, but I do find myself unconsciously sometimes overacting. And then I'll watch the take and I'm like, don't use that take. It's like, I don't know why he's only in front of me. Why am I talking to him like he's so far away? Because we're in this big empty room. So you just unconsciously think you have to be louder, but you're really not in an empty room. You're in this small room. You know, those type of things. So yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Is there any particular projects, like a dream project that you just love to work on, that maybe you've worked on a previous title, or is just something that you go, man, I would really love to be involved with that project?
Or somebody you would love to work with?
I want to be on Daredevil. I want to be in a Marvel film or series really badly. That would be a dream come true for me, absolutely.
I want to work with William Shatner. No, I'm a crazy William Shatner fanboy. And I met him in Houston for the first time in my life, and I was like a schoolgirl.
I walked past him and I was like, Elias, I just walked past William Shatner.
I
And he was
pushed her
like, wait,
down
what?
and-
Yeah. He tackled me and just beelined it.
And he was wonderful. For all the rumors about him, he was a wonderful man, to me at least. But we're all from the same town. So that's how I opened my conversation. I could talk about William Shatner the rest of the time.
What else are you going to talk about?
I don't know, projects, the specific projects, I don't know, man. I think now that the Arkham games are done, whatever reboot they have in mind I'd love to work on a Batman game, of course. Because I don't think they're going to do any more Arkhams. Maybe, who knows? They're so good, maybe they'll just do them until Kevin Conroy dies. Yeah. I don't know, man. For me, it's project to project. I love the Marvel movies, and it's like of course, I want to be in the Marvel movies or Star Wars or all that stuff. But I just want to keep paying my bills. Yeah.
So when you guys are in your downtime, like, is there any video game that you kind of relax with?
That's a good question for Amber.
No. I've chosen my love of TV watching versus gaming because there's not enough time in a day to do both. That's what I've concluded. I actually started playing Liberation, my game. And I got so sucked into it. I was like, wait a minute, I don't have a life anymore. But I guess that's what happens when you become a gamer. Yeah. And I barely even have time to watch the shows that I want to watch. So
Was it odd playing a game like as yourself?
it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It was terrible because I'm not good, and I accidentally killed innocent people. And I was like, no, I don't want to stab the slave. What am I doing? It was terrible. It was, and then I got the hang of it, but petting the dog, that was really nice. That was really nice. I liked petting dogs. I think that's a really cool feature to have in a game.
They should have that in every game.
It's funny how like that was therapeutic for me. I was like, this is not real. It's not happening, but I'm feeling the calming effect of petting an animal right now.
I always said it's funny, and you can do this too, is the idea that I'm the only person in the world who can play Deus Ex or You with Liberation and add lines while I'm playing it, which is always fun.
That's true.
But for me, I got 2 kids and work and conventions. I don't have a lot of time either. So it's funny, I'm playing Arkham Knight right now, and it's been out for what, a month and a half, 2 months?
Nuts.
I'm at 11%. So that goes to show you how much time I have to play the game. Like Arkham Knight, I like zombie games, and I like sports games. I play a lot of sports games. That's about it. Yeah, I don't have time. I wish I did. I play the games that I'm in, and I think Blacklist is amazing.
I wasn't really fun
It's-
with you.
People are hard on that game. It's a friggin' good game.
It's critics. It's
Yeah.
That's what we do.
It's true. That was a good game, man. I love that game. Not just because I'm in it. Even the parts without me. Yeah.